evening, everybody. Hello. We'll just wait for some people to join in with us, and then we'll make a start. Hello, Mum. Nice and on time. I'm just finding me on my iPad. Hello. Have you had a good day? Okay. Let's make a start. There's 2 people on. I can see one of you, but I can't see all of you. Okay, so tonight I am going to show you. Been watching Nadal on the tennis. Did he win? I like Nadal. Okay, so tonight I am going to show you how to make 2 fancy fold cards like this and like this out of 1 sheet of A4. So we've got this one here like so, and we've got this one here like so. So this one is actually measuring 3 inches square, and it's a standard easel card. An easel card because it looks like that. Some of them you see standing up a bit straighter, but I chose to do it a bit more slopey. And then this one, which is what I would call a diagonal easel card. And both of them fold completely flat, ready to send. Okay, so this one is 5 inches square. So you've got 5 inches across by 10 inches long. So that one you can easily get out of an A4. And this one is the other piece, which is 3 inches square by 6 inches long. And then you need this extra little 3-inch square. So if you haven't made an easel card before, I will show you how to do that. And we're going to start with this little small one. I'm using the First Frost stamp set and the Frosted Bouquet framelits, which are carrying on from, I believe, the Christmas catalogue last year, and they're on page 140 of your catalogue. The stamps are £20, and then the dies that go with them, they're called the Frosted Bouquet dies. They're on page 193. Where are they? They're up here, and they're £31. And you get quite a lot in there. So let's get a cracking. So what we're going to start with, I'm going to put these to one side because I've got all my stamps on my blocks already. So we're going to use a piece of A4 thick Whisper White. So it's exactly the same as the normal Whisper White, except it's a bit thicker. So to start with, what we're going to do, and you can't really see this, we're going to cut a piece that is 5 inches across, and then this piece here is the bit we're going to save for the smaller card. And then we'll wind our arm out, and we're going to score it at 5. Hi Monica. And then we're going to cut it at 10. So that's our standard card base. This piece we don't necessarily need. And then this one here is our 3-inch card. So we're going to cut it so it's 3 inches all the way across. And again, we don't need this little slither. And then we're going to score it at 3. Then score it at 4.5. And then cut at 6. Hello. And then this last piece we're going to cut just a 3-inch square. So out of your A4, all you're left as waste is these 3 pieces. So it's quite handy, and we don't need those. So I'll pop those in the bin, and that's the trim done with for the moment. So the idea behind an easel card is that we've got, that would be your standard card base, like so. But this one, we just fold it down again, and then that becomes your easel card, just like so. So it's actually a really easy and quite effective fancy fold card. The fun thing is, I've seen people that I've sent cards to like this, and you go in and they've stood them like that, because I think, well, how does that work? So a friend of mine actually sends instructions with hers, which is very clever. I'm not that organised, as most of you well know. So we're going to stamp this really quickly. So I'm using Evening Becca, thanks for coming in, is a basic grey ink pad. As you all know, I do love grey as my colour combination. So we're just going to pop that on there. Now the great thing about these stamp sets is you don't have to be too precise. The way that you layer them up is entirely up to you, but they look fab however you do it. And then this one here, this stamp is from, I can't even remember which stamp set this is from. Oh, this is from the Hugs by Shelley paper pumpkin kit. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp off, because I don't really want it as dark, although it's a lighter colour. And I'm just going to stamp some of that up there, and again stamp off, and then some of it like that. It just breaks up the white ever so slightly. Okay, and then we're going to stamp our flower head. Now these stamps are fake, they're fab. They're the distinctive stamp sets, which means that you've got a lot of texture in your stamp. So I'm going to stamp that just onto there like so. And I've used for that one Rich Razzleberry, which is from the Bright selection. Now I've been really cheeky this evening, I've actually die cut one already. So what we would normally do is we just put the little framelit around there and cut it out. But to save time, I have already done the die cutting. Now where are my dimensionals? They were here about 5 seconds ago and they've disappeared. Oh, here they are, they're under my card. So we're just going to add a couple of dimensionals, like so. Pick it up and just pop it on, like that. And then all I've done is I've stamped my sentiment, which says wishing you the best. So this would be a really nice card to send to someone just if they're not feeling too good, or they're going through a bit of a tough time, just to let them know that you're there in your thoughts. So we've just got wishing you the best, and then I would put 2 little gems on there. Hi Jeannie, lovely to see you watching. I hope you're okay. We really miss you at Card Group. We'll just pop these on here. Oh, I can't pick him up. Pop that one up there. So that is your topper as such, done. And then for the inside, all I've done is I've cut a piece of black card that's 3 inches across, and all I'm going to do, just move some bits out of the way, is cut 2 pieces that are 1/4 of an inch wide. So 1 and then 2. Now the reason I've kept them quite thin, because if you do them too thickly it just looks a bit odd. I need a new blade in my trimmer, but I'm trying hardest not to put one in as of yet. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to measure roughly where we want it. So about there, and you can check where it's going to stand, where it's going to sit there. Okay, so I'm going to add just some Tombow. Oh, that came out really quickly. To this piece, spread it out. Hi Anne, hope you're okay, nice to see you. We're going to lay that on there like so, just making sure it's straight. And then the next one we're going to lay on the top. Now you can put these on with dimensionals, but because it's such a little card, I didn't want to make it look too clunky. So that's why I've kept it on glue, but that's why I've doubled up the cardstock. Now this stamp here, he is this lovely long stamp. And then what we're going to do, we're going to use, what colour have I used? I think I've used Smoky Slate for that one. We're going to ink it up in the car, but not driving. Thank goodness, Anne. That would be multitasking. I wouldn't want you to get into trouble. We're just going to stamp it like so on that edge. How beautiful is that? Now I'll show you, there is actually a die for that one. And I was going to use this, but I ended up not. But how lovely is that? Such a nice little sprig. Now the next part, we're going to lay this on here so that he stands up like so. Going to add just glue to this bottom panel, and then the idea is we lay it on there like so, hold it down firmly, and then that's your easel card. So that's a really, really simple easel card to get us started, and that's kind of the idea of the card that we're going to make next. So I'll just pop those up there. Sorry, you won't be able to see them. So let's get cracking with our large card. So we've got a 5" by 10" card base that we're going to fold. One of the tricks with these cards, is to make sure that your fold lines are really crisp. So I tend to over burnish now, so that's really nice and crisp, that fold. Okay, now we're going to use our trimmer again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to score from that corner to that corner, and that forms the basis of our fold. Okay, make sure we score, not cut. When the new trimmer comes, I really hope they do something about this, about the difference between the scorer blades and the cutting blades. The number of times I get mine in a muddle and end up cutting when I should score, I end up wasting a lot of cardstock there. So that is the basis of our card base. So again, really straightforward, just 3 score lines, and then we need a piece of normal Whisper White. I say normal because we've used the thick. We're going to cut a piece that's 1/4 inch shorter, so that the card front is 5 by 5, so we're going to go to 4 3/4. Oh, see, look, I've scored instead of cut. 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. We actually need 2 pieces of those, so I'll just do another one. One is for the front of the card and one is for inside the card. Four 3/4 by 4 3/4. There we are. So one of those, we're going to stamp this piece on the top first, and then this piece, the second piece, goes inside the card, but we're going to stamp them before we attach them. We'll start with the top bit. So what I've done here, I've actually ended up cutting this piece in half diagonally. Just having ice cream, oh yummy. We had chocolate dipped strawberries and bananas for pudding, they were lovely. I've actually stamped in the middle and then I've cut across so that you get the same, you get a nice pattern. So let's go. So we're going to start with this lovely sprig, and this is in basic grey. And there really is no technique to, there's no pattern to how I stamp. I'm just stamping. So you don't need to be too precise, you don't need to measure it, just go for it, it will look fab. And then we've used this lovely splatter again, just randomly. Now, I'm happy with that. And then we have this lovely, is it a fern? I'm not quite sure what it is. Mint Magnum. Oh no, yuck. Don't like that. Yeah. This is Blackberry Bliss, which is one of my favourite colours. We're going to stamp him there. Now this one I haven't stamped off purely because I love how rich the colour is, and I'd like the comparison between the two purples there. Hi Denise, lovely to see you. Thanks for popping on. So in terms of my stamping, that's it basically. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our card base back in, and we're going to cut it from that corner to that corner. So we're going to line it up in our trimmer and cut like so. So that is our stamped piece that we're going to stick that piece to there and that piece to there like so. Let's just add some glue. And then again, I've been really good and I've done all my stamping and die cutting beforehand, just because you don't want to see me use a big shot, do you? That's quite boring. Like so. Purple is your favourite colour? Or I do like purple. It's growing on me. The new purples that they've released have really grown on me, so purple is now one of my favourite colours. Okay. There we are. So that's our base. Now I've got a selection of bits and bobs here that I'm quite literally just going to layer on my card. Now the trick with this piece here is not to stick it to both sides. You want it to overhang when you stand your card up. And I've stuck this with some Tombow onto the bottom. And this is where the fun is. So I'm going to stick that about there, because that way you can see the fern as well. So we've got like so. The next pieces that we're going to add are these little black sprigs, which are just lovely. I think they're so nice. And we'll put them like there. Now for these, just use a teeny bit of Tombow. I'm going to put him there roughly, and this one there. But again, you don't need to be too precise at all. Oh, my Tombow is leaking. You don't need to be too precise at all, because it will look fab however you layer everything together. I'm just going to stand that up there. Now the fun bit is putting the flowers on. So the flowers in theory are what you use to cover up the bits that you don't want people to see. And these I've actually put on pads. This would look lovely in any colour as well. I'm going to pop him about there, and then we'll put that one about there, because also the sentiment is going to go in the middle and hide the rest of everything that we don't want people to see. Turn him up the right way, we might get somewhere. So when that one stands up, it'll look like so, and then all we need to do is pop our sentiment on. Now our sentiment, I've used basic black and some Versamark and some Whisper White embossing powder. My Versamark is going a bit dry. I've got a refill on the way, so we'll just stamp him on there like so. And this is my little pot of embossing. Put it in a few times to make sure we've got good coverage. Tap the excess off, and then we'll heat that so that it sets nicely. Oh, got it all in a twangle with my heat tool. Oh, it's not turned on. 2 seconds. Let me make sure he's plugged in. I think the husband's been out here. My husband uses my craft barn, my studio, as his office. He's got a teeny tiny little corner. just heat this. Bear with me while I put my hairdryer on. And you see that changing. That's it. That's all done. It's all set. Now I want my big scissors for this. So I'm just going to cut this into a strip. Like so. And I'm not trimming it, I'm not measuring it, I'm just going for it. So there is our sentiment, which we're just going to quite literally pop there. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to put a mini dimensional just in there like so. And then on the end of it, I'm going to put another one. Noisy out there tonight. Just like so. So there is the basis of our card. And then let's just pick these gems up and we're just going to pop a few on. 1, 2, 3. I like threes. Threes make me happy. So there we are. Now the inside bit, this is where the fun starts. So we're going to do a little bit more stamping. So we'll just turn, nope, we're going to leave that as it is. This is the piece we need. We need the other piece that's 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. And before we stick it in, we are going to do some more stamping. So to start with, we're going to pop on a bit more of the splatter. Threes. I like threes. Threes do make me happy. So I do tend to stamp most things in threes. And then we've got the lovely sprig. Where have I put you? Here you are. Like so. And then we've got a fern. There. Hi Maz. Hope you're okay. Hope you've had a good day. We are making easel cards, which I know you enjoy making. And then here we're just going to pop our flower head. And then we're going to create a little banner that says happy birthday. So I've got a scrap of Whisper White here somewhere. We want a thin piece. Punches don't necessarily like the thick Whisper White. So tip from me, if you're going to punch, make sure you're using the normal Whisper White. So we've got happy birthday. And we're going to stamp that just about there. And then I'm going to use this punch, which is the classic label punch. And this is great. We're going to line it up. I'm not going to put it in the middle because I want to tie some thread around it. We're going to line it so that it's mostly towards the right. And just make sure we're happy that we're not cutting off any of the letters. Punch him, pop him out. And then we're going to stick this bit in. He's going to go in there like so. Hi Linz, nice to see you, thanks for joining us. We're on easel cards tonight, and this one is a nice triangular one or diagonal one, whichever you want to say. So now the trick is where to put our banner. So I'm going to put that about there because we want to see the flower. The trick with this one is to stick it down before you tie your thread on, otherwise it's really tricky, especially when you've got chubby fingers like me. So we're going to put that about there like so. And then we're using this linen thread. Hi Trina. Hope you've had a good day with all the children. I'm going to cut that off there like so. There's no science to how long the piece should be. And then this is the fun part. Leave yourself enough so that you can tie a bow. You can always trim it off. And then you're going to wrap this around your banner. So I'm happy with that. That's worked out 3 times round. This is stunning. Oh, bless you. You are kind. Your work is stunning. And then we're going to tie a little bow. Now, fingers crossed this works. Oh, it's not too bad, actually. It could be a lot worse. Just going to shorten that one. And then trim off your tails. So there we have our diagonal easel card with a bit of a banner. 2 of those, like so. And then we have these 2 little ones. So both of those have come from a sheet of thick A4 and a sheet of normal A4. A little bit of embossing, bit of stamping, bit of die cutting, bit of punching, and a lot of fun. I hope you like it. It was a quick one from me this evening. I was nice and prepared. I was ready last night to go, and then it just wouldn't work. So sorry about that, but better late than never. Like I said, if you do want to look at any of those, they are on page 140 of the catalogue, and it's stamps and dies, and they're lovely. Look fab in every colour. So hopefully I'll be back next Wednesday, all being well. Thank you all for joining. I hope you have a nice evening. Thanks then. See you later. Bye.